The next great resource for local weather is now available.
DigitalWeatherDesk.com is your source for up-to-the-minute local weather. Add DigitalWeatherDesk.com to your favorites, download our app, and follow me on social media. The Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank.
Hey folks, welcome into the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Friday to everyone that is joining us. This will be our only live stream for the day, but I just wanted to take an opportunity to kind of set the stage for the storm potential that'll move back into the area this weekend, and the potential for a few strong to severe thunderstorms during that stretch as well. As I mentioned earlier, I really think, as I mentioned in our little brief description, text description, I really think the bulk of the more organized storm potential will really hold off until the early to middle parts of next week. But we will work rain and thunderstorms back into the forecast as we go into this weekend. You take a look at the visible satellite, and again, the afternoon cloud cover has been quite persistent across the area. We've even started to see a little bit of light, spotty rainfall pop up on radar. Most of that has stayed out of our area, but as you move along the I-20 corridor, we've at least seen some blips of shower activity during the morning hours or as we approach midday. Overall, it's just another warm afternoon. Near record level heat or warmth expected later today, with most of us landing in the mid-80s. We're already at 80 in Monroe, 78 in El Dorado, 79 in Camden, 80 in Gina. So again, most of these spots are still well above normal for this time of year, and we set the stage for most spots to see daytime highs land generally in the mid-80s. Dew points continue to climb as well, low to mid-60s for the most part across the region, and so that also sets us up for a very warm, humid environment that can support rain, thunderstorms, and things of that nature as we head towards Saturday and Sunday. Again, the upper level components of this system still leave a lot to be desired in terms of overall storm organization. And it also still leads to a lot of question marks in regards to what we can really work with in terms of the severe weather ingredients that could be in play across the region. Check out wind speeds, again, quite breezy at lunchtime, generally in the 10 to 20 mile an hour range. We've had some higher gusts as well. So again, be aware if you step outside today, it's going to be breezy as we continue to set the warm, humid surface winds ahead of the advancing storm system this weekend, which again, depending on location, will really set us up for storm potential early in the day tomorrow in the northwest, and then later in the day to the southeast. Check the drought monitor. Janice, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. As you take a look at the drought monitor today, this was updated yesterday. I didn't show it to you yesterday because I only did one video yesterday. But as you look at how we set up, we need the rainfall. We're going to see rain this weekend. It will not be a drought-busting rain, but it at least gets us trending kind of in the right direction. As you look at the drought monitor, everybody in the ArcLMS is in some form of drought conditions. The only exceptions would be the abnormally dry areas across portions of the Mississippi Valley, but most of us are in moderate, severe, or extreme drought conditions. We need the rainfall. We do get we make some inroads this weekend and into early next week, but as I said, I don't think this is going to be a drought-busting rain. And also on that note, it probably won't be a burn ban lifting rain in some spots. And I know a lot of folks are going to be kind of disappointed with that. Look at the day planner for the rest of the afternoon. Again, near record warmth through the rest of the afternoon with mid-80s for highs, falling into the low 80s and eventually into the 70s this evening. Most of us will hover in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees overnight tonight. Check a futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports. I-20 frontage road in Monroe shows the winds back out of the south as we continue through the overnight hours tonight. And then you look for the storm potential to develop during the pre-dawn hours tomorrow. Again, if you've been following along, we're tracking a slow-moving cold front that's going to get stretched out over a large area in the central and eastern United States as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. So this front, as it moves deeper into our area, doesn't really have a lot of severe weather ingredients to work with in the immediate short term. But as we work deeper into the day and we get into the afternoon and evening, the atmosphere warms up, destabilizes a little bit, and it does give the opportunity for some storms to redevelop or to intensify during the afternoon and evening hours. Futurecast is not overly aggressive with storm coverage through much of the day tomorrow, but then brings more organized storms through during the nighttime hours tomorrow night and then sweeps it off to the southeast. I want to keep in mind that I think our best opportunity for any organized isolated severe storms will be early in the day tomorrow, when we have the more favorable, when the front's actually moving and progressing through the region. I think the better thermodynamic environment doesn't show up until afternoon, but I think our best opportunity for storms will be late morning, early afternoon. By tomorrow evening, I think that the atmosphere may be overturned to a point. The front's advanced off to the south. It may limit the storm potential, even though we may deal with rain and non-severe storms well into the day on Sunday and into early next week. I think the better threat for organized storm potential is in the early part of the day tomorrow. That said, it's still not a very significant organized storm potential. We'll get to all the severe weather threats and all that stuff in just a minute. Staying unsettled through the early parts of next week, so that's going to allow for at least a few scattered storms to fester Monday, maybe into Tuesday, and then the main upper level storm system moves through Tuesday, Wednesday. We've been talking about that for most of this week, and that sets us up for probably the best chance for organized severe thunderstorms Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So we've got this storm system's broken into two, kind of almost three pieces, if you want to look at it that way. So a look at the severe weather threats as we set the stage for the next couple of days. This is the severe threat for tonight, early tomorrow. Again, these are issued from sunrise to sunrise, so this does include the early morning hours tomorrow. And it includes the northwestern quarter of our coverage area. Again, damaging winds and hail would be our primary hazards, with any storms that could kind of spill into our area as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Jeremy, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. The severe threat for tomorrow is a slight risk level 2 out of 5 severe weather categories, mainly for wind. Can't rule out an isolated tornado potential early in the day. Again, when I think the wind profiles and all of those types of things and the ingredients for severe weather will be slightly more favorable. Again, as we progress southeastward through the day, I still think we're going to be dealing with showers. I still think we're going to be dealing with thunderstorms, but the severe threat as we progress into the late afternoon, early evening hours probably becomes quite limited, at least in our area. And then most of the storm potential kind of flushes toward the Gulf coastline during that stretch. Wind and isolated tornado potential, again, are primary hazards. The hail threat, mainly focused across portions of central and southern Texas as we go through the day. Obviously, it brings the heavy rain potential as well. We'll get to that in just a minute. Also, a reminder, as the main upper level system kicks through on Tuesday, Wednesday, the Tuesday severe weather threat is quite widespread from the Texas Hill Country all the way into the Great Lakes region. And then the Wednesday severe weather threat, that's for us, and will likely include a good chunk of the area during that stretch as well. So we'll keep an eye on all of that as we go into early parts of next week, but our main focus is here in the short term, dealing with what we're dealing with as we go into the day tomorrow, overnight tonight and into tomorrow. The excessive rain outlook, basically just talking about the potential for localized street flooding and flash flooding. It does put us in a slight risk level 2 out of 4 categories as we go through the daytime hours. On Saturday, the forecast rain potential. This is forecast rain totals for the next 3 days, as issued by the Weather Prediction Center. Again, paints most of the area in 1 to maybe up to 3-inch rain totals. Again, that's over the next 3 days, next 5 days, and then the next 7 days. So when you start factoring in the rain totals that we will work with early to middle parts of next week, it really starts to set us up for some periods of heavy rainfall across the region that starts to stack up. Again, drought busting, probably not. Burn ban lifting, perhaps. Once we get through the rain Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, I think we do have a good chance of perhaps seeing a drought busting, or excuse me, a burn ban lifting rainfall. Drought busting, it's going to take a lot more than just one rain event. And so, like Clara just said, rain is a very, very good thing at this point and a welcome sight for much of the Ark-La-Miss region. High temperatures today, again, approaching records, mid, maybe even upper 80s in some spots, which is where we've been over the last couple of days, so that shouldn't be that big of a surprise. Lows tonight fall back into the upper 60s to near 70, again, warm and muggy. Portions of southern Arkansas could be rain-cooled as the storms move in through the overnight hours, but again, at this point, main focus for storm potential in our area is for Saturday. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3V Hardware. Again, dealing with showers and storms unsettled through the upcoming weekend and into the early parts of next week with that Wednesday severe weather potential, something that we'll keep an eye on. Again, isolated severe storms can't be ruled out through the daytime hours tomorrow as well. All right, so that's a look at the forecast for this Friday. This will be our only live stream for the day. Again, if you haven't noticed, the background a little different. We are in Galveston, Texas for a family wedding, and so we had some festivities last night. It was beautiful. We'll have some more festivities tonight, and then obviously the wedding is tomorrow. The plan is for me to attend that wedding, but the cool thing is the wedding is here on site in our hotel. So if I attend the wedding and the weather starts getting crazy, I can just hop back up here in the room and we can get squared away pretty quickly. Jeremy asked, the remote digital weather cart. I call it the remote digital weather desk, I think is what I called it, or I don't remember what I called it. But anyway, yesterday was, we were very limited on content. Jeff, Misty, thanks so much for joining in. Mr. Steve, thank you so much for joining in as well. For those that weren't around yesterday, we only did one video, and it was a struggle to even get that done. I was running into some problems with trying to get the live stream settings squared away. So if you were watching this from like YouTube or something like that, and you're like, the quality's a little down, we've brought the stream quality down from full HD 1080p down to 720p at 30 frames per second, just so we can stream a little bit more efficiently without, a bunch of herky-jerkiness or having any kind of problem. So if you were watching this, like I said, on YouTube or something like that, and you're going, it looks a little fuzzier than I'm used to, it's because it is. Again, while we travel, we just want to make sure that everything continues to. So, but I think we got all the settings kind of squared away. I'm looking at the stream right now, and we haven't dropped any frames. So in the event that we need to do live coverage, we can do that. And again, I wanted to spend all day yesterday when the weather was quiet trying to get all that stuff kind of taken care of. Sherry, thank you so much for joining in from El Dorado. Jay says, hope it washes the pollen out of the air. It's not only the pollen, which, yes, that is, pollen is the early spring bloomers. Boy, they are brutal right now, Jay. But also the dust, because it's just so dry. We're dealing with it's a 1-2 punch, man. We're dealing with the pollen, and the allergy sufferers are dealing there, and then obviously respiratory sufferers and folks like that also dealing with issues too in terms of the dust and just like I said, the dry conditions across the area. Jeremy, thank you so much for being my audio sound quality assurance person. I don't have Stanley here. Stanley's back at the house. Which it also does worry me that he'll just randomly unplug a computer as he rubs his head against the plug. The other cool thing about this mobile camera, it just, all right, I got to shut up and stop now. All right, forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. Kyle says, going to try to slip out and do some fishing tomorrow morning. Miss the future radar look. Is that going to be possible? You will have the opportunity to maybe, depending on location. Again, I think most of the storms start to arrive in our area by around the pre-dawn time frame tomorrow morning, but depending on location, you may have a chance. I would check the radar tomorrow morning before you head out, just to make sure that you're not running into some lightning issues and things like that. But there will be some areas that can maybe pick and choose their times to get some stuff done outside tomorrow. I think, though, as we progress deeper and deeper into the day, the likelihood of getting a lot of stuff done is going to be pretty slim, just because of the risk of showers and storms stretched out through much of the day. I will say this, though, that there is still a lot of question marks regarding this stuff. I don't feel great about this forecast. I haven't felt good about it all week. If you've kind of followed the live streams, we've just kind of hemmed and hawed about how much we don't like how the model data just kind of waffles back and forth. Again, I don't think this is a significant severe weather setup in our area. Could we see a rogue severe thunderstorm? Could we see a rogue, tornado warning or something like that? Certainly possible. But in terms of just a prolonged big time headache, we'll just have to, again, we'll have to wait and see, but I don't think that we're looking at a big prolonged, widespread, severe weather event in our area. Jeremy asks, any good data on next Friday? I'll be working Shindig again this year. I really, at this point, it's too early to really speculate on next Friday. I will say this, with the big storm system that sweeps through on Wednesday, I would think that Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week may be okay or should be okay. But I don't want to say that with a high degree of confidence at this point. And that's how we'll leave things on this Friday afternoon. Again, if anything crazy happens later today or into the overnight or early parts of the day tomorrow, obviously we'll hop back in and join you live as well. Like I said, we got all the kinks with the live studio or the mobile live studio kind of worked yesterday, so feeling a lot better. I was really stressed out yesterday. You can ask my wife. Not a lot of happy words were said in this hotel room yesterday evening, but we got it all figured out, and she was a big help too, because sometimes I get frustrated and say weird stuff. Marisol says wedding tomorrow at 4:30 in Monroe. Kids are in it. Guessing that's going to be hit and miss. Yeah, it really is truly scattered, because so many folks are getting married this weekend, and again, outdoor weddings, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough to plan anything outside tomorrow, but it will be off and on. And that said, the other downside to it is anything that's planned outside, even if you can get outside, keep in mind that these storms, if they move overhead, will be pretty heavy rain producers in a short period of time. So you may only get one or two storms tomorrow, but you may get a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain out of those 1 or 2 storms. And so I want folks to realize that once rain sets in your area or a storm moves through your area, it may kind of leave you kind of sloppy and gross for the rest of the day. So just be aware of that, that while a lot of this is just so scattered in nature, it will probably impact a good chunk of the region as we go through the day tomorrow, especially when it comes to those outdoor weekend plans that everybody has on the schedule. Thanks so much for everybody joining in on the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app. Again, a reminder that as the Floyds continue to be out and about and traveling, just a reminder of our partnership with Weather Call Next Gen. Again, the opportunity to receive phone calls, texts, emails when your specific location receives a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning or a severe weather warning of any sort. You can learn more about how to register at digitalweatherdesk.com. Of course, you can always download our app. Links to download are at digitalweatherdesk.com. Multiple ways of receiving alerts just in case you need them. Always the most important thing that we say when the weather gets a little bit more active. Again, if anything pops up this afternoon, tonight, early tomorrow, if there's any changes to the forecast that I think you need to know about, we'll let you know about them as well. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. Have a great weekend, and I'll check in with